Okay. See, we have left our yesterday's session by creating our power up. Let's first replay that, see what we have done till yesterday, and then let's start. Let's see what we are going to do today. So first, let's see where we left this yesterday. So we have this power up, and we have our enemy spawning, and we successfully implemented the complete working of our power up. But see, we have only one enemy, and now when the enemy dies, there is, or the enemy falls off the platform, there is nothing more to do here, right? So it's time for us to generate this enemy waves. So let's see what we are going to do today, like the complete product after finishing today's work also. So in this last lesson for this game, we'll be generating this enemy waves. See, now we have one enemy here, and when that enemy falls, we got two enemies, and when both of them died, see, we have three enemies now. And even we are having these power ups also. We have one power up for each wave. So this is the thing. I guess I should quit now. So this is the thing we are going to do in today's session. So let's get started. So here we want our enemy to spawn multiple times, right? So first let's go to our spawn manager and see, we here in the start, let that open. Yes, in the start we have this instantiate enemy prefab only once. Now let's write some loop which makes it instantiate more than once, or the number of times we wanted it to. So first in the start itself, left right, let's use the for loop. The for loop will be in this format. We'll use the for loop structure. Will be it needs three things. The first thing is initialization of a variable. So I have initialized the, and this I which I have initialized now is called loop control variable. See, I have initialized a variable, and I'll be using this variable to control my how many times my loop runs. So to control this, I need a condition. So this time, let's say I want to run this loop 3 times, and I need to find a way to increment this, or to make the size. See, I have started my I with 0 value. The value is 0, and later I gave a condition that stop this loop when I is not greater than 3. Like this loop runs until I is less than 3. So I need some way to take my I from 0 to 3, right? That's this particular thing, incrementing or changing I basically. So as we have known earlier, instead of writing this, we can also write in this format, like I plus equal to 1. Even to reduce this a further, we can, in C sharp, we can write it as I plus plus. I plus plus just means taking the current I value, incrementing by that by 1. So we'll be using this now. Let's use this, and let me cut and paste that in there. So let's see what happens. Coming back to Unity now, we must have 3 enemies in the, yes, we have. So this is the thing. Now we have used our for loop to generate 3 enemies. But see, now even when the 3 enemies are dead, we don't have anything more, right? So again we became lonely on this floating island. Now first let's see how this is happening. See, the I value will be 0, and when I is 0, this condition will be evaluated. Yes, 0 is less than 3. So as this is true, this for loop gets executed for once, and then it returns back to this incrementing. So now I became 1, and then it again checks this. So this happens like this, like it comes from the initialization, checks the condition, uh, does the block, the for block, and next it increments, again checks the condition, again performs the block of statements, and next increment again, and again condition until the condition is false. This goes on repeating. So in this case, 0 for 0, 1 and 2, this case satisfies. So this loop runs 3 times, and we have seen the action there. We have seen 3 enemies spawning. So instead of having only this particular thing in the start, why not we have this in a method and use this method however we want. So let me cut this. I'll be writing a new method called void spawn enemy wave. I'll call this a particular uh, group of enemies as enemy wave, and in here I'll be pasting that. Now if I call this here, it must be the same thing. Now let me just try that. I just gave the block of code a function name and just call the function. There must not be any difference. Yes, see here, we some it's the same thing now. Yes, so now there is no use of just copy paste cut pasting this particular block, right? We have made a function, and we can use to use it in a more better way. We must be able to give a particular number, and this loop must run those many times. We can do this very easily by giving them parameters. So let's create a parameter here. I'll be creating enemy number. Or I can enemies to spawn. Yes, I'll be giving this, and I'll not stop when this is at 3. I'll stop when this is less than enemies to spawn. And here I need to give a parameter to this, right? This time I'll give this as 5. Let's see what happens. See, I just did nothing. I have created a parameter. Now this will become a variable that we can be used inside this method. And when I call my function itself, when I give 5, that 5 will be the value of this enemies to spawn. So my for loop I am running from 0 to enemies to spawn. So in this way I'll be repeating this loop for 5 times, right? And this loop, as it runs 5 times, now I must see 5 enemies in my Unity. Let's just test this. Yes, we have these 5 enemies. When we are able to get these 5 enemies, we can get any number of enemies as we wanted, right? So let me change this to say like 15. Why not? Let's try that. We have these 15 enemies. Oh, let me try that once again. Wow. Sometimes these kind of physics clashes happens. but that's okay, right? See, we have this 15 enemies now. I just did that to test, and now let's see, every time we are having some number of enemies, and we are just generating those many enemies. We don't want that even. We want this wave system where we'll be generating the enemies when the previous wave dies. So first let's try implementing that. I'll make this 3 itself for our convenience. See, let me make it 3 and see. I'll just show you one of the problem we have. See here. Oh, sorry. Just wait. See, all our there is one enemy left. Okay, whatever. See, we have these enemies below floating island. They have already fallen, but we have them in our scene itself. They are not dying. We need to make find some way to kill them once they have fallen off the floating island. So here, let me go to my enemy script and add that functionality. In the update here, I'll be checking for my players game object position. So this enemy.cs script is attached onto every enemy, right? So if I write this here, it applies to each enemy. So I'm writing like if transform.position, and I'm focused on my y-axis because that is the one which controls the height. And based on this itself, I can say if my player is sorry, if my enemy is there on the floating island or if the enemy have fallen. So transform dot position dot y, if it is less than -10, what I'll do, I'll just destroy this. I'm going to destroy this game object. Why am I destroying this? Because I no longer need this. If my enemy have fallen below -10, see, in our case, let me show that again. Yes, let's take the case of, okay, that core, I have saved this and they they're actually working. See, we have only one enemy clone which is above our floating island. The other two which have fallen down are deleted, are destroyed. That is because of our enemy script we have now. So in the same way, we can destroy this other enemy also when it falls. See, it also got destroyed. So now in this way we are able to destroy things, but how do we know it is time to generate the next wave? We can know that based on the enemy count, right? See, say, let me get back to my spawn manager, and initially let me have one. Just keep it like that. Now say if I play my game and if I somehow manage to keep track of my number of enemies present in my scene currently. So now see, my enemy have died. Now the count is 0, right? Whenever my enemy count is 0, I will know how many enemies I have spawned in my previous wave. This time I'll spawn the next number of it. Like if I spawn one enemy now, I'll be spawning 2 enemies in the next wave. So let's go and implement that. So here let us get back to our spawn manager and see here. I'll be creating a new int here, public int enemy count. And please note this here, enemy count, I'll be initializing this with a new thing. I'll be calling find objects of type, and here I'll give the type as enemy. Just see this, and it says me cannot implicitly convert type enemy array into int. See, we have initialized enemy count and we are giving an array. That's not right, right? We need the length of this. So just see this, find objects of type. Let me demonstrate to people that. I'll give this 3 itself for better understanding. And let's see what happens to this enemy count in the Unity. So where is it? It's on my spawn manager, right? So see here, we can see this enemy count as 0. Yes, we at present our enemy count is 0 itself. So when I start the game, see I have my sorry, I double clicked that. When I start the game, see I have 3 enemies here, and see my enemy count is also 3. Now let me try to knock. See one of yes, see now I have only 2 enemies. One of the enemy got below -10 in the y direction and got deleted. And see now our enemy count is 2. So let me, yes, now we have all the enemies removed, and now see our enemy count is 0. Now I can spawn another enemy wave, right? So I can test this. So let me give this one, and here I will write. So my enemy count is always tracking of my number of enemies. How it is doing that? This find objects of type will it's similar like get component, but here get component of particular type search for a component in a game object, but this one find objects of type will search for this particular type enemy in our complete hierarchy. So in this way, this find objects will return array of all the enemies, and when I call when I say dot length, it returns the length of the array, which is the total count of enemies I have in my game at any given point of time. So I have this right now. I'll be using this enemy count. If this enemy count is 0, what I'll be doing, I'll just spawn enemy wave of, this time I'll give 2. Just I'm hard coding this. Later I can change this however I wanted. Let me just show how this happens. So did I say that? Yes, I did. So I have one enemy now. And now see I have 2 enemies, right? So you there, when my enemy count is 0, I can use that if condition to generate my enemies. So let me remove this in here. I'll create a new variable here called public int wave count, wave number, and I will initialize that to 1. So see here initially my enemy count is 0, right? So whenever the game just started, unless I instantiate that in my start, initially it is 0. So definitely this if condition will be satisfied in the beginning of our game. So I am giving this wave number which is 1, and what I'll do, I'll just increment wave number And in the next time I'll be having 2 3 so on like that. Just see this here. So initially when the game starts, I'm not creating any enemies. So in my first update, in my first frame update, the enemy count will be 0. So as this is 0, this definitely if the if condition definitely satisfies, and my as my wave number is 1, I'll have one enemy count, and the wave number is increased. So when that enemy has fallen the ground, again the enemy count becomes 0. This time, as I have my enemy wave number as 2, I'll have 2 enemies. In the next time, 3 4 so on. So now let me try this. Here I have 1 enemy, 2, oh, see I have 3 now. 3, all the 3 have fallen. Now I have 4 also. See now 5. Oh, lol. See, this is the way we successfully generated the waves, but we have an issue, right? See, power up we are having only once, but as the game progresses, the number of waves we have, the number of enemies per wave are getting increased, right? Linearly. So in the same way, we need to. It will be better if we provide a single power up for each wave. So let's try that. So for that, I need to refer my uh, power up in this spawn manager, right? So for that, let me uh, use this public game object itself. I'll rename that as power up. So I have declared my power up prefab here. Now let me go to Unity and initialize that. I didn't get it here. Yeah, I got this. So let me go to prefabs and clicking on spawn manager. Let me drag drop this. Yes, I have initialized that. Now let me instantiate this power up for each wave. So instantiate of, I'll write it as power up prefab. Yes. And this one also I'll be generating random position. What's the method name? Yes, generate random position. And next I'll be giving it the same rotation as its own. So power up dot transform dot rotation. So in this way I'm generating a power up for each wave. So let me try this. Oh, so initially I got 2 power ups because one I have already in my uh, hierarchy. The other one is the one I have generated. So I can delete the one in my hierarchy. So let me test this again. Yes. See now I got another power up, right? So if these two also get died, I need to have my third power up. See, there is new power up and new wave also. I need to have new power up and new wave. Even the player dies, everything happens. Even when these days, I need to have new power up and new wave. Yes, it's working. So with this, we have successfully implemented our wave system and power ups, and we have finished our game also. Let me try building that. So add open scenes and build this. You need to give a uh, good location for this. So always remember, for builds you need to give an empty folder. So let that happen. Uh, Meanwhile, let's recap what we have seen in this lesson. We have seen the for loops. We have seen the increment operator, which is plus plus, which can be used instead of I plus equal to 1 or I equal to I plus 1. All the three are the same. And we have seen these custom methods with parameters. See, let's talk about the difference between these two methods here. See, for this, we have void and we aren't returning anything. So void will be used whenever we have our void will be used when we don't need to return anything. But here we returned vector 3 and we want to return a vector 3 and we have done that. Our random position is a vector 3. Next, here we have taken a parameter and used that parameter to do something. Here we don't have parameter. Everything that's in the function are the values that it has created on its own. So these are different kinds of function you can have. This is the one with parameter and no return value. This is the function with no parameter but with a return value. So these are different kinds of functions we can have. And the last thing, we used this find objects of type, and we have found the enemy count using that. So let me just play this. Yes, this is the one. So I'm bad at this. Let me use my okay, my bad. So, but it's good, right? We have finished the game with this. So I guess with this we can end our session for today.